Third installment of the OPP podcast. We're here with special guest, former WWE superstar James Ellsworth. Everyone give it up for James Ellsworth.
Thanks for the applause in the room.
Thanks for coming out. First off, thank you for coming. And I just want to ask you, as a wrestling fan myself, when you were a kid, what was your insight on wrestling when you were a child?
So I started watching like the late 80s. I was 4 years old, probably 1988. And my grandfather took me to the Baltimore Arena. It was called the Civic Center back then. And the first main event I remember seeing was the Macho Man Randy Savage when he was WWF champion against $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. Short after WrestleMania 4. They were doing the house show matches against each other after that, and I just remember seeing that, seeing Macho Man. I'm like, oh, this is really cool, and just hooked ever since,
We had these, back then we had these bigger, larger than life guys, Macho Man, Hulk Hogan. Personality was so good back then. Andre the Giant, and we had great managers, like Bobby Heenan, Jimmy Hart. Today I don't feel like we have the managers like we had back then. What's your input on that?
I don't think we have the characters that we had back then. There's so many guys, and not to knock on anybody, but there's so many guys like on TV right now that you're not going to remember in 10 years.
Right.
There's guys, and I won't name any names, that are gone from WWE now, that were there 6, 7, 8 years, that didn't have a character, and they're gone, and nobody remembers them. They're not getting a lot of indie work because they didn't have that memorable character. You have to have a character, and like you were saying, maybe they just ran through all the characters or something, because in the 80s and 90s we had these awesome characters, and we don't have that today. You have some of them, like Elias. He's a great character.
I love that guy.
And you'll remember him. He's the guy with the guitar, and he comes out, he sings, and he gets interrupted. Everybody always remembers the characters from little kids all the way up to the adults.
But I remember even as a kid, the jobbers like Duke the Dumpster Drozy and the Brooklyn Brawl, even the guys that got the shit beat out of them because they had characters. Like you said.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and back to the jobber thing, I think another problem is, and we'll go over this, my opinion, this day and age on Raw or Smackdown, the guys just wrestle each other all the time, every week. I used to love when you had the jobbers, like you said, the journeymen, I like to call them, because I was journeyman there at first. They would wrestle them, do their moves, do their high spots, and you're like, oh, he's about to hit him with the razor's edge. And they would talk about, Razor Ramon would talk about how he was going to wrestle Shawn Michaels at the pay-per-view. You wouldn't see that, on Raw or with Superstars. You had to wait to the pay-per-view. So you got to see the guy wrestle, hit all of his moves on the guy, which was cool. They cut a promo and sell you on the pay-per-view. We don't have that these days.
Exactly.
And that's another thing that, in my mind, is not in the business anymore. These guys cut promos for shit. You talk about, the 80s and the 90s, Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes, and Dusty Rhodes was not a muscular man, or he was just, the common man, but that motherfucker could cut a promo like nobody's business. These guys now, they cannot cut a promo for shit.
Well, this is the difference between scripted and not scripted back in the day.
A lot of it has to do with, this day and age, they have a lot of sponsorships. So they give you these scripts just so that they're basically telling you what to say so you don't say anything that's going to hurt them on their sponsorship or whatever. And then they have these scripts. That way, if you do say something, it's not what we gave you to say. There are reasons for that, but I do agree with the fact of, there's promos back in the day, and some people still do it this day, when it comes out natural and you're saying what you feel. The audience feels that more than a scripted promo. When it's a script, sometimes you're trying to remember the script and it doesn't come out natural. And, and there is an issue with that, but I get why they do it. But I myself, I love just to speak. You tell me what the story is. If the story is me versus AJ Styles, and we're going to fight in a ladder match for my contract, that's all I need to know. I can go out there and talk about it.
Exactly. Yep.
That's a talent in its own right. I know you can get in the ring and do your moves, but to me, nothing better on a Saturday than watching Ric Flair unbuttoning his shirt, Tony Schiavone in and fucking sticking his chest out. Those guys don't do that anymore. They like robots. They speak into the camera and do what they're supposed to say. I like a guy for their personality. My favorite wrestlers are always dicks. I loved Ric Flair, Limousine Ryan, Jeff. I love guys like that. Kurt Hennings throwing the gum up and hitting in the air. I love guys like that. You don't have guys like that anymore.
You're jumping ahead a little bit. I know we're going to get into everything, but when WWE brought me back over the summer, I had a promo where I was calling out Asuka, even though the story was I knew she wasn't there.
Right.
And I took my jacket off, I took my shirt off and threw it, and that was all me just doing it because I felt it. I'm like, oh, I'm going to call her out. I know she's not here. So I'm acting like a tough guy, and that was just me. Like, they didn't tell me to do that. That was just me doing it. And like, I remember getting backstage, you're like, man, that was awesome. Like, that was, you felt that. Like, you were like ready to fight, even though you know she's not here. So you're acting like you're this big tough guy, taking your shirt off, doing this, making the audience like, oh, is he really trying to fight Asuka? And then, you know, Paige comes out and says, you know she's not here. Yeah, just stuff like that. Those little things that people can do, take it that much, like take the story that much, you know, more like further than just rather, you know, saying your script and moving on.
That to me is what keeps me interested. Like, you know, you build your storyline. You know, you show your personality on camera. That's what makes, you know, people want to buy your T-shirt, your action figure, and watch every week. What do you think about this, Steve?
I think the same thing, man. It's like everybody wants everything. Just like now, right away, you gotta have all the big matches on Raw. You can't wait to build up to a pay-per-view. I see everybody bitching about this Kofi Kingston thing online, let's say, just for instance, and everybody thinks, oh, well, they should have shotgunned the title on him at Elimination Chamber, but you don't realize that wasn't even, there was no build whatsoever to that. I mean, it's just kind of like Daniel Bryan a few years ago. You watch him get screwed over and screwed over and screwed over, and you build toward the WrestleMania match where the payoff's going to be a lot bigger, but nobody has, you know, it's a short attention span, and everybody just wants everything right now. And so I think that's probably part of the reason why they do things the way they do them.
I'll explain it to you this way, like, if you fall in love with a woman, you don't marry her. Usually, you don't marry her the first day you fall in love with her. You date her for a while. You actually see if you do love her. You actually see if it's real. Like, you feel like you love her. You wait a while, and then if the love never goes away, then you marry her. That's the Kofi Kingston thing. Okay, we all love him. We've loved him for so long.
Yep.
We're ready to marry Kofi Kingston.
Yep.
And we know we're ready, but we weren't ready to marry him in Elimination Chamber. We knew we loved him, but let's give it a couple of weeks and see if we...
Let's go on a few dates.
Yeah, let's go on a few dates
I mean,
and hang out.
Let's
people
test
gotta
drive
figure
it,
it.
not buy it.
That was a month after Rowan came and helped Daniel Bryan. So, I mean, you really want to, like, bring in the monster backup guy, and then 3 weeks later, he still loses the title. Like, I mean, there's got to be...
But I will say this about modern wrestling as opposed to the 80s and 90s. Like, now everyone on the roster is a superstar. All the matches are...
The matches are great.
Could be main event matches. There's no George South versus Bobby Fulton.
They have the best, most talented roster they've ever had as far as in-ring talent.
Do you think that's because of, like, you know, that they have the place where they recruit these guys and train them and the writers, or do you think that's just, you know, it's grown that much that that's what it is now?
Well, WWE is its own entity. Like, no matter what they put, what kind of content they put on TV, it's not going anywhere. Like, a lot of people complain,
Billions
cry.
of dollars.
We're all our, you know, our Monday morning quarterbacks. Where, well, what if they did it this way, that way? I'm the same way. Like, later on, I'll get into how I would have booked the Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch stuff. Like, I think, you know, I'm just maybe being a homer myself. I think my idea would have been awesome the way I would have did it. And everybody does it differently. But, like, yeah, it's... And like I said earlier, they have the best talent, in-ring talent they've ever had. These guys are phenomenal athletes, they're phenomenal wrestlers. They've never... And I think a lot of that has to do with they're looking at guys on the indies that are indie darlings, that's what they're called, and they're actually checking them out now. And if you make a real good name for yourself and you have some talent, they're scooping you up. And it's awesome.
Kind of like the minor league kind of deal. Like, you know, they go down, send scouts, check them out.
Yeah.
They're main event type of guys, they sign them. That's smart.
Mm-hmm.
They're always handpicking.
How many
from
guys,
ROH.
if they would have, you know, how many guys would have been main event guys 10 years ago if they would have been doing that, even 15 years ago? How many guys do you think fall through the crack because they just implemented this, you know, not too long ago?
They started doing this right around CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, when, like, bringing in like indie darlings again. If you look at like ROH, like you just said, ROH, they, you know, they're like the, you know, the organization where WWE does, you can tell, pay attention to. That's where Seth Rollins came from, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk.
Kevin Owens.
Like, a guy like Kevin Owens, back in 98, 99.
Never would have wrestled.
2000, 2001, 2002, would never be in WWE, but he is an amazing talent, he's amazing promo, he's different, he's awesome in the ring. And a guy like him, unless it was for like a CM Punk or a Daniel Bryan, you know, getting that spot, getting over on WWE, on the main roster, like, you know, AJ Styles or Kevin Owens or, you know, Samoa Joe. Like, I love Samoa Joe. Like, none of these guys will have jobs, and it's awesome it's that way. Like, they're picking the cream of the crop. Like, if you have some talent, you have a name on the independents, most likely you're going to get signed now.
5 or 6 years ago, man, you couldn't even dream of, you know, a guy like Samoa Joe being in WWE, holding a title.
But they got so smart because, you know, I watched TNA, I watched Ring of Honor, and I seen these guys like, man, he would be great against this guy or that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Their talents would be so good together in the ring, and then, but you would have never saw that before just because of pride or, you know, that kind of thing. Now, the cream of the crop's in the ring, and I like that a lot.
But let me ask you this one. They do have, to me, I mean, phenomenal amount of talent. It's ridiculous. I think their issue now is they have too much of it, and they don't have enough time to go around.
Absolutely. Like, it's already, you know, a lot of people, like, rag on the writers there at WWE. It's hard to write 5 hours of television every single week. They got 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown, not to mention 1 hour of NXT to write every week. And then when you throw in a pay-per-view once a month, like that's another, you know, then you have 8 hours of television. So that's hard. But like you said, they signed so many guys. There's a lot of guys that get lost in the shuffle because they don't have a spot for them. Like, you know, like Shelton Benjamin's there, and Shelton Benjamin is awesome, but they haven't been able to do much with them because they have no time. They have all this other guys.
The spread's so thin.
Yeah, and it you know, and if you're there, and this is just my opinion, I'll say that a lot because I think that's what I like to enterize. Like, we all have our opinions on every kind of subject, and some of us are right, some of us are wrong, and sometimes it's just our opinion. Like, if you're there so long and you're not doing anything, you're devaluing yourself. Like, because like, you're just not doing anything. You're sitting there, you're not on TV, you're not, like, a guy like Zack Ryder is in phenomenal shape, he's entertaining, people get behind him every time he's on television. He's been there so long, he's done some cool stuff, won tag titles, US title, Intercontinental title, you know, but at this point, it's like, you know, you've been there so long, like...
Should get off the pot already.
Yeah, like, I mean, but
he's so talented.
It's not his fault. It's just that's not a guy they're picking to push. I'm just using it as an example. I love that.
He's awesome. He's just maybe a notch below.
And it's just not his fault. They just don't have the time. They're not it's not a guy they're picking to, you know, or choosing to have that TV time with. And so that like, to your point, very true that there's not time for all these guys they have signed. And maybe that's why, like, if you notice, they just built the NXT UK, and they're sending, like, Jack Gallagher, who's another guy you haven't seen, and like, or Noam Dar, they're sending them over there, so that at least they have that spot.
They're trying to spread them out.
And I think you're going to see more of that. You're going to see maybe an NXT Japan, an NXT India, an NXT, like, where they can take their talent and put them all, like, all over the world. That's what I'm thinking I'm seeing. Yeah. So it remains to be seen, but I feel like that's what they're doing with it.
All right, so we're going to go back to, you know, when you got into professional wrestling, like, tell us here, you know, tell the people at home how you got into professional wrestling. We all loved it. We all wanted to do it. We did backyard wrestling, cardboard world title belts.
Oh, yeah.
I did the trampoline wrestling.
You know, freaking mattresses in anybody's yard that would let us throw a mattress out there.
Yeah.
How did you get into professional wrestling?
Well, I graduated in 2002. On June the 1st, 2002, I graduated. And I had my graduation money. It's like $2,500. So that was June the 1st. On June the 5th, I was like, well, I'm going to go check this wrestling school out. And I had my graduation one, $2,500. I remember my dad, like, yelling at me, like, you...
Was it Bone Breakers?
Yes, Bone Breakers. Pro wrestling school here in Baltimore. No longer around. But,
right on Benson Avenue?
Benson Avenue! But yeah, so... I took, and the wrestling school was $2,500, so all the money I got for graduation, I took and put it right into wrestling. My dad could have killed me. He's like, you need to go to college. I'm 17 years old when I graduated. You need to go to college. You need to. So he's like, and my dad, I'll never forget. I love my dad. I'm not ragging on my dad, but he's like, you're you know, back then I'm small now, but back then I'm like 125 pounds and I'm 5'8". He's like, what? He's like, take your shirt off. Look at Monday Night Raw. Then look at yourself. Like, you're wasting your money. I said, well, I'm gonna give this a try, and I'm gonna go for it. And June the 5th, 2002, I signed on for Bone Breakers here in Baltimore.
Hey man, sometimes you just gotta go for it, you know.
Yeah.
So back then, we're talking 2002. I was still around. Mark the Shark Schrader was an instructor.
Yes.
Dan McDivitt. Who else was there back then? Was Axel there then?
Yeah, Axel.
So consultant kind of thing.
He was there, and you'd see him in sporadics, but like, you know, the guy, the Bruiser was one of the trainers. Keenan Creed, Patrick Brink, Earl.
I actually went to high school with Shane Shamrock.
Cheech, okay. Yeah, I think he passed before.
Yeah, Brian Hauser.
So, yeah, like all those guys, you know, and I started training there. And like I said, I would see Axel in spurts at first. But then once Bone Breakers went under in 2003, they just stopped having a school, stopped running shows. And Axel, like, well, him and I had just become friends. We were in the same type of music. We were into the same type of, like, you know, sports.
The Kiss Army?
Yeah, oh, yeah, I love Kiss, and he loved Kiss. But, you know, Motley Crue, just any kind of Misfits. So, and just our love for wrestling. So we just became friends, man. And, like, I started going on the road with him after that. And he would train me before the shows, get me in the ring, and, you know, help me out and stuff, because I didn't have a wrestling school. So he would, you know, before any show he had, he would get me in the ring.
So he kind of taught you, you know, out there on the road, like, you know, you got to learn it the way you should learn it, like, you know, at a show beforehand. Hey, try this, try that.
Yeah, and he would tell, a lot of it would be like, this is what you don't do. There'd be a lot of that, and then this is what you do. And if a guy like, back then, a guy like Christian York was on shows, he'd watch this guy.
Christian York was good.
He's awesome. And he, like, that's a guy that never got his due, man. Like, really. He was money.
Fucking very good.
He was always money. And he was a good friend of mine, but he never got his due. So, yeah, he would take me on the road, and I did that for years with him, probably 2003 until, about 2014, like 11 years of just traveling the roads with him and learning from him.
He was great. That ECW guy, like, you don't see guys like that anymore now. You shredded jean shorts, cut off, you know, rock and roll t-shirts, busting each other's heads wide the fuck open. The guy was awesome. Man, I drank with him many nights. We hung out a lot of times. Great guy. Knew the business better than anybody I've ever seen. Like, you know, if you're, you know, a car salesman, you know, they know how to sell cars, but this guy would know how to run a dealership. What a great guy he was.
Yeah, he was so passionate, man. Like, he really liked the way I threw a punch. He's like, you throw a punch good. He's like, but we're gonna make it great. We're at, like, my basement one day and I had a punching bag. And he's like, just showing me how to throw a punch. And he's like, you're doing good. He's like, but I'm gonna take good and make it great. And we sat there for, it had to be 2 hours. And then finally I threw one and he's like, that's how you always are gonna throw your punch the rest of your career. And I threw it again. He made me throw it like 50 more times just to get used to throwing it the way. He's like, you have it, that's it. He's like, it's very important. He's like, if you can't throw a punch, you just might as well not even wrestle. He's like, it's, you know, very important. So he was just passionate like that. He was so smart. And, man, yeah, I don't know if I would have made it without him, honestly.
That's good. So I've been around him a lot of times, and, you know, like, and he would be on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, whatever he was doing, and the guy would say things about, you know, the business. The guy had a business mind, and it's sad because the guy would have been a great writer, you know, the talent scout, anything. He loved the business, and he knew it better than people that are probably sitting back there writing scripts every day. It's sad to say.
Yeah, so I don't know if I've ever told the story, like, because it sounds like a bullshit story, but it's 100% real. That's why I've never told it. I was like, nobody can believe the story, but I'll tell it. We're in a car one day, and we just did a show. And he was complimenting me on my promo. He's like, man, your promo was really good. And he's like, you really know how to talk. I'm like, thanks. And I'm thanking him. I'm like, because it was hard to get a compliment out of him. Like, a lot of times he would just rag you. Then when he compliments you, like, you knew it was sincere. Because he wouldn't. So we're just driving. We have the radio on or whatever. And he turns the radio down. He's just looking at the road. And he goes, man, you know, he's like, it may never happen. He's like, but if one day you got in front of the right people, and you cut a promo, and if the right eyes saw you, he's like, I don't know if that would get you a job, but he's like, I think people would be impressed he's like, if you got right in front of the right people and they saw it. So it's just like kind of eerie thinking about it now because it's exactly what happened. So it's like, and I never told the stories. I'm like, it's one of those things where people are gonna think it's bullshit about telling. Like, you know how people
so sentimental.
People are just they don't believe the truth, but. So yeah, I just remember him saying that, man, and that's what happened. I don't know, we'll get into it, but like he called it. It's like he just called it. He knew, and like he said, I don't know if you would get signed or if you would, but if the right eyes saw you, I just think they would be impressed.
It just catches that attention for you there.
I was like, wow. Like, so years later, when I reminisce on that and I think about that particular car ride and him saying that, it blows my mind. I'm like, wow, he really saw that in me before anybody else did. And like, cause dude, I'm 5'8", I'm 170 pounds. I don't look like a GQ model, believe it or not. And I'm not, the guy that usually gets signed. And he just saw that in me before anybody else. And to this day, like thinking about it, gives me chills, man. It's cool.
he was a great guy. Like I said, he knew the business, so he saw that in you. You know, like if the guy would have had a fucking, you know, somebody would have gave him a shot, what he could have done for the business. You know, like
well,
talent scout wise, like, you know, even writing probably. I'm sure because that man could cut a promo, and he would, when I would even talk to him, he'd say, I say, you know, what's going on? He would talk, and then we get to wrestling, and he would say, this guy's wrong for TV. This, you know, he's gonna be gone in 2 months. Nobody's gonna fucking remember this guy.
He would call it, man.
And it was great.
He would
just great.
Call it, and like I remember guys like you just said, it's funny. Guys like they would get on TV and go, man, this run's gonna last 6 months. And then, like, 6 months would go by, they'd be gone. I'm like, damn, just like, wow.
And then they're at the con on the weekend signing 17-cent promo pictures for somebody. Done. Out of the business so quick.
Yeah. And he was a big John Cena fan. So when John Cena came out, like, 2002, 2003, right away, he's like, this guy is going to be the biggest star in the business. Like, he just...
And everyone back then was like, fuck no.
And he was just rapping. He was like,
yeah.
you know, and he's like, this guy looks great. He looks right at the camera. You believe him. And I'm like... And
he had the
you know
look,
why
man.
he was that good? His dad was a promoter.
Yeah.
And his dad probably told him, man.
He had the look, but that was all I seen with him. I'm like...
When I first saw him, I was like, this fucking Eminem wannabe fucking
Yeah.
guy. Fuck him. Now, 12, 15 years later, he's a fucking Hall of Famer.
He's a big movie star.
And he's over.
Oh,
Fuck.
And so... Well,
Even with that bad comb over, he's over.
I love it. The comb over, it's just something different. So 2 John Cena stories real quick since we're on the subject. I had the privilege of wrestling John Cena when I was in WWE in a mixed tag match, Carmelo and I against him and Nikki. And so we're in the Gorilla before the match, and I think I'm just sitting there watching the monitor, the match before us, whatever it was, and I'm sitting there watching, and he like puts his hand on my shoulder, he's like, are you even nervous? I was like, well, why should I be nervous? I was like, you ain't gonna hurt me, you're one of the best wrestlers in the world, I'm in good hands. And he goes, you get it. He's like, I like that, you get it. And we went out there, and just a quick match, did our thing, and the way he called the match to us was just so nonchalant, easy to him, because like John Cena at house shows, he would wrestle AJ. I remember AJ going up to him, hey, what do you want to do tonight? John Cena was like, I don't know, they're going to tell us what they want. And they would go in the ring, just do it. That Cena would just feel the crowd, and he's a master. If you go back and watch his promos when he's getting booed, by the end of the match, he's getting cheered.
Right.
He knows
He
how
flips you.
he knows how to get you. He's the best, man.
And I will say one thing about John Cena. Love him, hate him, comb over, flat top, good shoes, whatever. The fucking man does so much for charity. The Make-A-Wish Foundation, he has more grants, wishes than anybody ever. So if you hate that guy, you're a fucking piece of shit. The guy, cancer kids, whatever he does, he fucking puts a smile on people's face. And if you can't love a guy like that, then you're just fucked up.
Well, admittedly, I was a Cena hater at the beginning. When he first won the title, had his big run, you know, a couple years basically with the title straight. But I will admit I changed my mind about him, especially the last probably 3, 4, 5 years. When you look at the level of matches that he's been pulling off, and everybody says he can't wrestle, every time that guy has a freaking match almost now, especially on a pay-per-view or something, I'm like, that is must watch.
Oh, he's amazing, man. Like, so, my next John Cena story, we were in China, and like, I couldn't go to sleep. I think I was watching a Ravens game, big Ravens fan, and like, in China, it's like 3 in the morning with the Ravens game on, and like, someone like down in catering, like, just watching my game, and he comes down, he's having his breakfast. He comes over to me, he's like, where were you a year ago? I'm like, huh? He's like, where were you a year ago? I was like, I don't know, probably like at some indie show, and then afterwards what's at some bar in Baltimore, I don't know, and he starts like, he's like, you're in China, man. He's like, you're in China, you made the most of your opportunity. He said, no, you're sitting in China having breakfast. I'm like,
With John Cena.
right,
Exactly.
And he's just like, but those little things he would say to you, just like it would make you like feel like it would remind you how blessed you were. Like,
Exactly.
Man, like, yeah, like I'm in China. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm just sitting in China having breakfast, watching the Raven game on my phone. Like, this is awesome.
And so, yeah, speaking of your opportunities, like, so, you know, you were on that Raw that night against Braun, but, you know, you go in as an extra or whatever, and so how did that work out? I mean...
Well, here's the thing about extras, and this is the God's honest truth, and I don't mean to downplay it, but anybody can be an extra. You can be an extra, you can be an extra.
Cool.
Just sign up and do it. The thing is, if you act like an idiot, they throw you out. So that's just like the way it is.
I'm an idiot. WWE, why?
Anyone can do it, and again, not downplayed. It is still a fun opportunity. But So yeah, I'm there as an extra, and I've told the story a lot of times on a lot of podcasts. So we're all there around the ring, all the extras, and somebody's going to wrestle Braun on Raw, and none of it's guaranteed. We don't know who's going to wrestle. And Arn Anderson walks up to us, he's looking at us all, and he goes, whoever throws the best punch is getting the match.
Thank you, Axel.
Yeah, and he's like, all right, you're the smallest one, let's see what you got. I throw a punch, he goes, I don't need to see the rest of you in the ring. And like you could tell those guys were pissed. They didn't even get to like throw one. And it's like one of the biggest compliments ever because it's Arn Anderson,
Who had the best left ever.
oh, dude, he's amazing. I can't wait to see him soon. But so I get in the ring. It's like, all right, let me see you throw one on Braun. And Braun's standing there. Braun's fucking every bit of 7 foot tall,
yeah.
big, just one of the biggest dudes I've ever
man.
seen in my life. He's like, so I was like, all right. So I throw the punch, and he sells it. He goes, all right, you're gonna punch him twice in a match. He's like, then he's gonna kill you, and he's like, this is gonna be your one time on WWE, and this is your dream, so have fun. I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be my one time on WWE. I am like, so like, there's a lot of funny stories. Like, we're in Gorilla before the match, and the extras like are not like, well, this particular night, I don't know, like every other night, but we're not supposed to walk down the ramp, and I was like. And like they want us to walk kind of through the crowd, through where like wrestlers sometimes come in through the timekeeper's table.
Right.
That's what they wanted me to do, but like while the commercial was on or whatever. And remember the referee's like, "Let's go!" And like when you walk through the curtain rail, there's these stairs that go down, and you go through the crowd, and by the timekeeper's table around to the timekeeper's table, and then in the ring. So I remember walking down the ramp. I was like, "Fuck this! I'm walking down the ramp." Like I walked.
Hey, if this is the only chance you got to do it, man.
So I'm walking down the ramp, and I see the referee in the crowd, like, looking for me. And I'm like, hey, I'm over here. And he's like, man, you're supposed to walk through the crowd. So already I'm getting yelled at. I'm like, I don't care. And then, here's a funny story. So I'm in the ring, right? I'm looking around. It's commercials on. Nothing's going on. And then this true story. I don't think I've ever told this. So I'm in the ring, and like I'm getting nervous, right? I'm like, fuck. Number one, I'm about to get my ass whooped by the biggest guy that's ever whooped my ass. And number two, like, this is a live TV. I'm about to have to cut a promo. And I was like, man, I just hope it goes well. And so, what calmed me down? Like, JoJo, the ring announcer, she walked up and said hi to me. And she was just, like, her face was so pretty. Like, it just calmed me down. I was like, this is a pretty girl.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
that's
girl.
cool. And she was so nice.
Yeah.
Like, and, she dates Bray Wyatt now. He's a hell of a nice guy.
Yes,
Like, so
absolutely.
I'm happy for both of them. They're, people get, people on the internet get on your business, all they don't know what happened there. Yeah, they're together. Good for them. I'm happy for both of them. They're both good people, and people get in people's business. You don't know what happened.
Yeah, you don't even know what was going on with him and his
You
wife.
weren't there, so
Yeah.
there's no way of knowing any kind of situation if you weren't there. So, very good people, both of them. Happy, but that really calmed me down because she was so nice. Not that she was pretty that calmed me down. It was just that she was so nice, and I was calm after that. I don't know. It was just I never told her that. I hope she hears this. But so Braun comes out. And as he's walking to the ring, they wanted me to cut a 15, 20-second promo about, wrestling Braun Strowman. And I remember telling the writer, who was Jimmy Jacobs, I was like, hey man, they give me the script. I was like, can I say this line? Any man with two hands has a fighting chance. He's like, yeah, that's fine. And I thought about it because, like, I'm hitting him twice. So, any man with two hands has a fighting chance. That just popped in my head. It was just a line that I never used before, never heard before, or anything. So and that's crazy. That's the line that got popular and got people to this day when they see me they bring that line up. And that's just something I came up with on my own. I'm very, very proud of that.
Good promo cutting.
So Braun comes out. I hit him twice. Everything went well. He destroys me. And wrestling's not fake. It very much hurt, especially when he grabbed me by the head and gave me that club to the chest. I felt every bit of that.
So I know what happened. I saw it. I'm like, fuck. I know Jimmy. Then you said that shit. And fucking people in WWE, all the fans, memes, and
It was crazy.
it was thousands and thousands,
that
maybe
got
fucking
big.
millions of people. I said, this guy's gonna fucking get a contract.
Yeah,
They love it.
So it's crazy. So I get done with the match and like I'm like so hurt, like not hurt like where I'm injured, just like man, just sore and beat up, and I'm trying to like hold it. Like, yeah, I'm good, like. So I get to the back and Arn Anderson's like, man, you did a great job. Vince wants to see him. I'm like, Vince wants to see what the fuck did I do wrong? Because he's like, I don't know, man. Vince never wants to see the extras. He just never wants to see them. So I was like, fuck. And I go to the gorilla looking for him, and he's coming down the stairs. Vince McMahon. He's like, you did a hell of a job, kid. Give me a handshake. And I like shake his hand. I'm like, well. And Triple H shakes my hands, gives me a nod. And I'm like, this is fucking crazy. And I find Braun and thank him, and he thanked me a million times. He was so nice. And I remember like sitting down and catering, and like after the match, eat my food, watch the rest of the show, and like all the wrestlers are just looking at me like, I don't know, and they're like, no, you did a good job, and I'm leaving, and like, you know, D. Edwards used to be a referee around here.
MCW plug again.
Yeah, he's one of my best friends. So he calls me when I'm on the ride to the next town. We had like Smackdown the next day. When you're an extra, you do all the shows. And he called me. He's like, "Hey, Chris Jericho wants to talk to you." I'm like, "Fuck you, dude. Chris Jericho don't want to talk to me." And he's like, "No, he's right here." So Chris Jericho gets on the phone. He's like, "Hey, man." He's like, "You did a hell of a job. I just wanted to tell you, you did really good." He's like, "I hope we see you again." And then Enzo gets on the phone. Enzo's like, "Hey, I just want to let you know you're gonna be a star." I'm like, "Yeah, right, dude. Thanks." He's like, "No, you're gonna be a star." I'm like, Like, I'm not believing it.
On to the next show.
And I'm looking on my phone, and all that shit's blowing up.
Dude,
and
I
like,
saw a million memes. I was like, dude, when people, you know, reach out or, you know, take the time to fucking make a meme or put a text on the bottom of the fucking, you know, picture, your attention is with them. Like,
yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
And so once I started seeing that, I was like, something's happening here. This ain't, like, and I remember, like, the next day, like, you know, when I went to Smackdown, I was calling my friends. Like, I don't know, man. Something's happening. I think I'm going to get something out of this. Like, I knew right away something was going to happen. I, like, necessarily think I was going to get signed, but I thought, like, maybe they'll bring me in to do another job or, you know, something. And, you know, so it was 6 weeks after that before they ever did anything again. After, like, 4 weeks, I was like, man, they fucking forgot about me. They're like, I'm not their priority. I was never their priority. I was a guy that just happened. So, yeah, 6 weeks later, they called me to do SmackDown in Philly, and I came out to, like, the ramp, just did an entrance, and the Miz beat me up. And then after that, I came and did the AJ stuff with Dean Ambrose, and before we moved on to Carmella, and yeah, man, it's just, like, you never know, man. Like, you put yourselves in those positions, you never know what can happen. Like, for the most of the time, if you're extra, 99.9% of the time you go there, you just do whatever they ask. And, like, you can, like, if you're an indie darling, if you're popular on the indies, you can't be an extra. Because people know who you are.
Right.
So that you can't be a jobber in the ring, you can't be a security guard, you can't be in the Conga line. And it's just the hard truth. Like, if you're an extra, that means you just don't have the name. And that's not bashing anybody. Like, anybody that should try it and do it and
absolutely
have fun. But, like, that's what you're there for. You're there to be in the background. You're there to not be noticed.
Yeah.
And I took that opportunity, and I got noticed. And I didn't think that was going to happen. Like I said, I walked down the ramp thinking it's the only time I'm ever going to get to walk down the ramp. And it's just, you just never know, man, like, what could happen if you put yourself in those positions.
You're not going to hit the home run if you're not up at the bat.
That's right.
So, you know, you do the match of Braun Strowman, fucking, the internet loves it. You're sitting home, what's that first phone call, you know, after that, like, hey, we have another match, what are you going to do, like, we love you. How did that phone call go? Who called you? What was it like?
They had a representative call me. I can't remember who it was. That Wednesday, 2 days later, I was like, hey, we want you to do an interview for WWE.com. I'm like, okay. Like, so I did the interview. And
Who is this?
it's some, like, you know, social media rep. There's so many people that work there, man. They all work hard. They all have a hard job. There's not an easy job at that company, man. When I was there working every day, I look around like, man, it's such like a circus.
You have no idea.
Like, it's crazy. Like, and everybody's working hard and busting their ass and sweating, and it's a very big team effort, and everybody works. There's not a lazy bone in that. It's just not. And
That's why it's successful.
Yes, and always will be. Like, I don't think there's ever going to be a time where they're not successful. It's Coca-Cola, it's Pepsi, it's AMC. It's like everything that we know. It's the NFL. It's the MLB.
It's much more than that. It's Monday.
Yeah, it's Monday. It's when it's Monday, you know Raw.
It's either Monday Night Football or Monday Night Raw. Other than that, it's the worst fucking day of the week.
Right. And people can knock it, and you know, we like I said, we're all our own quarterbacks, and like I'm gonna get the Becky Lynch Ronda Rousey what I would have done, but you know, we're all gonna watch it no matter what. It's just the way
it's a train wreck. Everyone's gonna look.
Yeah, and yeah, man, but yeah, dude, like, so yeah, they called me for the WWE.com interview. That was like the first thing, and then every week they would hit me up. Hey, we may need you Monday. We may need you Tuesday. And nothing was happening. I remember I was supposed to wrestle Heath Slater at SummerSlam. After that, and the winner gets the contract for SmackDown, and they're like, you know, you're gonna win the contract, not a real contract. They're like, you know, he's trying to get a contract. That was back when he was both on Raw and SmackDown. He wasn't drafted in the draft.
Yeah.
So they were gonna have me come out. Daniel Bryan's like, here's your opponent. If you beat him, you're gonna be on SmackDown.
Yeah.
So the reason why they didn't do it, and that happens a lot, where they'll just, there's so many spots I was supposed to be in that didn't happen because they just changed. So the reason why it didn't happen, the reason they gave me was, oh, well, Heath Slater's starting to get over his baby face, and when we use you, you're going to be a baby face, so we can't have two baby faces doing this spot. So I was like, man, that sucks. Like, I was going to do pay-per-view, you know?
Yeah.
So after that, I was like, man, that was probably the nail in the coffin. They ain't going to call me back. And then, like, eventually they finally did for the thing with The Miz, where The Miz beat me up.
The Miz. This guy, it's another great story. Guy was on fucking
The real
MTV,
world.
the real world. Like, now he's a fucking humongous wrestling star. He's married to a hot Canadian chick. They have a bunch of kids.
Two
But
kids.
It just shows everyone, you know, like, follow your dreams, man. Like,
Yeah, you don't
you put
know
something
what
on
can
Facebook
happen,
the other day, like, you know, traveled the world, went to WrestleMania. Man, that's fucking amazing. And most people that are in that position do not even, you know, acknowledge it. Do not give it, like, you know, a thank you. And that's great that you do that.
Yeah, like, so when you make it, man, it sucks. Like, I wrestled on the independents, especially around this area, for 14 years before I made it there. And then when I made it, man, like, a lot of guys were just mad that it wasn't them, I guess. And I'm like, man, dude, like, if it was you, I'd be so happy for you. Even though I didn't like you, I'm like,
Yeah.
man, this is fucking cool that this is you, like, doing it. And I don't know why people are negative like that. So I try to be positive about it and, like, spread a good word about it. Like, man, I no matter what, regardless of what happens in my life going forward, if I never go back there again, like, I went there and I had an awesome 2 years. I did all this cool stuff. #1 selling shirt, had action figures, been on WrestleMania, wrestled at Madison Square
You
Garden.
can't beat that, man.
Like, all this
But you
cool
put it on
stuff.
Facebook and you know, like, you're thankful that,
Mhm.
for that. Most people that are NFL, WWE, UFC, nobody says, you know, like, fucking thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm here. Like, I was a child. I had a dream, and I fulfilled my dream. Like, you know, a lot of people don't do that. And I even said on your Facebook, I said, man, you're blessed, and you took the time to acknowledge it. That's fucking amazing.
Yeah, and you know, like I said, people will just be negative and not. Like, that's me, man. Like, you know, Steve, he's been coming to shows for years and known me, and you know, he probably knows me pretty good. I'm not negative at all,
Nah.
dude. Like, you gotta be positive. We're all gonna just be dead in 100 years, and all of this is gonna be.
It ain't gonna matter anymore.
Yeah,
but
nothing's gonna matter. You just enjoy yourself and
Enjoy
have
it now.
fun. Like, and don't rag on each other. It's so stupid. Like,
It was fun for me to watch because I didn't really know you super well, but I knew you. I knew you were a local guy, and to kind of make yourself that way, I mean, that really doesn't happen in WWE. I mean, when it started turning in, like you said, the memes and everything, I'm like, wow, okay. I mean, this isn't how people don't get signed that way usually. I mean,
you're not their priority. Like,
But WWE is smart, and they could not ignore it.
right? It's
Fuck.
It's good and it's bad. It's great. I got to live my dream. I'm not angry about anything that's happened there. But at the same time, like, I'm like, well, I didn't go through NXT, and they have time and money invested in these guys, and I understand that. So I was like, I'm not gonna last long here. I'm gonna have a great time, travel the world, have fun.
enjoy it.
But you came an internet sensation. They can't fucking ignore
Right,
that. They gotta
like-
put it on there. They're like, you know, they have to know. They have to know. You know,
Well-
like, if people are looking at it, they want to know. They want to experience. Then we gotta put this fucking shit on TV because we don't want to miss the boat.
I had a hell of a run. Like I said earlier, there's guys been there 6-8 years that they haven't had a run. They haven't done anything that people like. You have had to have a run to be remembered. Like, do memorable moments.
Mhm.
Like, nobody's ever gonna forget me grabbing the Money in the Bank or beating AJ Styles.
To-
You know, like,
To me, the mask with
The Oscar.
when I came back,
shit.
you know what's crazy? So I've never
Nobody knew it, and we were watching, and you came out. I was like, what the fuck?
So, do you guys, and it like, it's just one of those weird things. I've never told this story. Remember when Diggs from the Minnesota Vikings,
Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs, it was 4th and whatever,
Mhm.
4 seconds left, and he catches the fucking ball and he runs and
Yeah.
beats the Saints in the playoffs. Like, and that's when I got like released. Like, my contract was up and I got released at first. And it's like I was like a month after, or a month and a half after, whatever, for that playoff game against the Saints. And I'm like kind of bummed out. I'm not in WWE. I'm waiting for my 90 days to be up so I can go back to the Indies and have fun. And I'm like, I never thought about giving up, but sometimes it does cross your mind, like, oh, I made it, fuck it, like, you know. And I'm sitting there watching this game, and it's just weird, man. So this game's over. The
It's
Saints
over.
have won. Like,
Yeah, leaving the
it's
stadium.
done. Yeah, I'm sitting there, I'm like, and it sucks. I was like, man, it's kind of bummer. Like, all these Vikings fans paid thousands of dollars. I think about that shit. Like, they paid thousands of dollars for these tickets about to see their team lose. They don't have a prayer to win this game.
No,
There's
it's
no
over.
way he's going to complete a pass. And
Not
like,
that far.
And he completes.
Case Keenum.
and he completes the pass to Stephon Diggs. And this man takes it to the house, and like that just reminded me to never fucking give up. It's just one of those weird stories, like where I watched that, and like I'm not a fan of the Vikings, I'm a Ravens fan. I'm watching this game, and
when he's a Maryland guy, you had to cheer for that.
Yeah, he's from University
exciting.
of Maryland, and he scores this touchdown, and I just remember him taking his helmet off and throwing it, and like it was just. So I sent him a message on Instagram like months later. And I was like, dude, like I was in WWE, I'm not there anymore. Like I want to get back there someday. And that taught me not to give up. That moment. And he wrote me back. He's like, holy shit, dude, that's so cool. Like, thank you. Like he wrote me back. And so I fucking went hard on the Indies. Like when I started back on the Indies in February, I did my first match. I made sure.
The Intergender tour.
Yeah. So my first match I did at Michael's 8th Avenue against Jerry Lawler. Like we had a nice crowd, packed, and so yeah, like I did the intergender title stuff and just really hit the Indies hard from February, March, April, May, and then 5 months, boom, June, WWE called, hey,
we need you.
We need you for, it might be 1 show, it might be 6 shows, we don't know, but we need you.
You come running, fuck it.
And we need you for Carmella, and I love Carmella, dude, like a sweetheart, so fun to work with, always say it. So they bring me in, do the thing where I take the Oscar mask off, and like it's in Chicago, and the place went nuts, dude. That was like my Stephon Diggs moment, like where I was like, yeah,
take it off, throw it.
So I mean, I did a lot of cool stuff there in the 2 years. Like I got let go, and I did the comeback already. You beat the world champ, you're in the Royal Rumble, you're on WrestleMania, like, dude, like I was blessed. I did a lot in a short period of time, and I hope to think I'm one of those characters nobody will forget, like.
And you won't, because you know why? Like, you're one of those guys, you're the underdog. You fucking main evented, shows. You fought the world champion. You went to WrestleMania. Everyone wants, in their mind, oh, I want to do this one day. You fucking did it, so people can, relate to that. So, and that's why you have a lot of fans.
So, when I did the thing in Madison Square Garden, I came out and wrestled Kurt Hawkins in a quick match and beat him. Like, I won a match at Madison Square Garden. I remember, like, I get back to the locker room, I go to the bathroom. I know, I used the bathroom real quick. And I just looked in the mirror and I just started laughing. And I was like, come on, really at fucking Madison Square Garden? Did I just really win a match at Madison? And like, I had to sit back, like, I had so many moments like that where I'm like, had to pinch myself. I'm like, this is Madison Square Garden. I just won a match at Madison Square Garden. And like, I just had to pinch myself, dude. Like, and like you said earlier, not a lot of people do that. They take it for granted. There's so many guys that I see on Twitter. Oh, I don't know what it's like. I don't remember what it's like to be on a pay-per-view. Oh, why aren't we getting pushed? Or why are we losing all that? There's a lot in WWE. Like I said, I won't name any of them. But there's guys on Twitter that do they not remember that when they were a fucking kid, that this is what they wanted to do?
They just wanted to get there.
You have action figures. You have T-shirts.
You're on video games.
You're in a fucking video game. You're traveling the world on somebody else's dime. Like, and I'll admit, like, a couple of times I forgot that shit. I would never bash WWE on social media because that's fucking stupid. Like, but I had a couple of times where I over-talked to the writers, like, because I'm just passionate like that. I just wanted the shit to be good, and if I felt like something wasn't good, it probably wasn't my place to go to the writers like, look, this ain't any fucking good. They had a gimmick where I was on the dog leash with Carmella, which I wasn't embarrassed about or anything. It's Carmella having you on a dog leash, you wouldn't want to do it. But I just felt like it wasn't a good angle. Like, I just felt like if I'm, somebody's parent, I'm not going to watch this, or it just wasn't going to work to me.
Now, when you said something like that, would they,
I think they got pissed at that. I'm not sure.
Push you away, like, push you away?
Yeah, I just think they got pissed at that. I don't know. I just wanted the shit to be good. That's just me. Like, I felt like after Money in the Bank, when I grabbed the Money in the Bank and gave it to her, we had so much heat.
Dude, that was heat. That was big heat.
And after that, it was great. And I felt like they fucking contained it and didn't.
A couple weeks after that, they did an angle where I was suspended and gone for a month. Which, dude, I love the work. So I was like, can I still be on the house shows and just run through the crowd or something and try to help her when security throws me out? I remember one of the agents going, yeah, we could probably do something like that. And they were like, no, you're gone for a month. They're like, just enjoy the free money.
They should have built on that heat, man.
Yeah, and I was like, no, that's
That's
it.
when you run with something like that.
Yeah.
Like, no, let's build on this heat. I was like, can I just wrestle the girls? Like, that was right away. I was like, Becky Lynch was like, can I wrestle Ellsworth at SummerSlam? Because Money in the Bank was the month before SummerSlam. And,
that would have been huge.
By the time I wrestled Becky Lynch, it was 4.5 months after that shit happened. I'm like, man, just too late.
But if you'd have did that right then,
where it was hot,
right now,
so
you might have been in the fucking triple threat match.
And by the way, I loved working with the girls, man. If you notice, none of those girls ever say a bad word about me. I don't say a bad word about any of them because we had a great relationship. We all the girls and I me with the girls, always had fun, always very professional, and that's why, you know, like when I see like people on the indies bash me or all that, I'm like, is
They're
anyone,
hating.
like, is anyone with any like significance like that, or an indie darling or a WWE superstar? You don't see any of them bashing me because I did good business with them all and I was respectful.
So when somebody like that bashes you on the indie circuit, you say, "Who the fuck have you wrestled?"
And I'm not like
Besides your
that.
mother and fucking.
And I'm not
friends,
like that. But the way I'm not
But you
like
have
that.
to be, because if it's something negative, they run with it.
No, all
So
that
if they
hate,
throw something negative your way, run with it back at 'em.
It's like, to me, it's like, man, like instead of like hating on me, why don't you like ask me about my experiences and maybe I can help you, like.
yeah, maybe you can get your ass here one day or something.
Like, I don't go on the internet and bash anybody. People bash me all day long. I really don't care. Like, I know what kind of guy I am. I know kind of, like, I'm a father and I'm like, and so when people bash me, I'm like, really? Like, they don't know what I've been through.
I appreciate anybody that's done anything I can't do. You know what I mean?
They're too busy hating to like make their own fucking career.
That's a cap. I'm not going to drink.
All right, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna talk about, you know, you did the WWE thing. You were there for a little bit. You know, you had time off when you went back. Like, what was it like? You know, you're a local guy. You know, we love wrestling around here. It's wrestling around here. So you get to be in the fucking major leagues, in WWE, you do your thing. What's the travel like? What's a daily day? You know, you wake up, the travel, just tell us what it's like.
So-
You know, nobody will ever get to experience that.
For like me, doing the Smackdown brand, our house shows would be Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and we'd have TV Tuesday. So Saturday morning, I'd wake up at like 4 a.m., get a shower. I got a shower when I first wake up, just me. And I would go to the airport, PWA, and I'd fly wherever we were going. And you get to the town, first thing I did was go check in my hotel and just sit down for a minute. Because you're not fucking traveling all day. You fly into a town, get in a rent-a-car. You know, sometimes you ride with somebody, sometimes you didn't. Like, sometimes I would ride with one of the referees there, Rudy Charles, or I'd ride with Shinsuke Nakamura, or I'd ride with, you know, Mike Bennett, Shelton Benjamin, I rode with a few times, Mojo Riley, like, you know, but then sometimes you just want to ride by yourself to have some peace and quiet.
Yeah.
Like, I love Mojo Riley, nice guy, but man, if you're with him, you better be awake and alert. You know? So, and Shinsuke, we'd have fun when we'd ride together. He's cool. He's quiet, and we'd have fun. So I like to ride with him. But, yeah, so you get to the town, check in the hotel. I'd take a little nap or whatever, even if it's an hour. Go to the gym, get something to eat, go to the building. You got to get to the building on a house show at least an hour and a half before the show. My rule is 2 hours. My rule is if you're not early, you're late. So I get there 2 hours before the show, find out what you're doing, go out there and do it, and then, like, I would always stay in the same town. I'll drive in the morning. I want to go to the hotel and go to fucking sleep. So that's your normal day. Then Sunday, you get up, drive to the next town, do the show, go to sleep. Monday, you get up, drive to the next town, go to the show. Tuesday, you have to be at TV earlier. Got to be at TV at 2 o'clock. I would always get there at 1, an hour early. And because TV's a long day, like, because, you know, sometimes, like, most of the time I was on the show. I was very blessed. Like, my 2 years there, I was on the show more often than not. And, yeah, so you get there, you see what you're doing, you have rehearsal, like, you know, it's blocking, like, you stand here and look at the camera, and Carmelo's going to be here, and AJ's going to be here, and Dean Ambrose, you know, whoever you're working with. And, like, it's TV, it's live TV, so you got to rehearse a lot of it and make sure you're in the right spot. So there was that, and then, so Tuesday nights, man, you'd be so tired from the weekend and all, and then you have to, like, get up. It'd always be a morning flight. Gotta get up at 4 a.m. Like, so TV would end at 10. You wouldn't fall asleep because you got that adrenaline rush. You wouldn't fall asleep like 1 in the morning, get 3 hours of sleep. And I remember, like, those mornings, I would always sleep on the plane. Like, it doesn't matter how far the flight was. Like, I love the flights from California because a lot of times...
5 hour flight.
Yeah, so a lot of times after the show in California, because the show in California, instead of starting at 8, will start at 5 in California time.
Mm-hmm.
So by 8, you're done. And your flight would be at 10:55 or something like that, and you would sleep. I would love the West Coast shows, California, Seattle, whatever, Arizona. And yeah, I'd go right to sleep, and you wake up and you're in Baltimore, and you go home, take a shower, go to sleep. And yeah, it's just that's your day, man. It's a lot. Like I always said, we're not really professional wrestlers. We're professional waiters. You get to wait. You get to wrestle for like 10 minutes tops. Like you're most of the time you're waiting. You're waiting.
There in the hotel.
Waiting.
You're waiting at the airport. You're waiting on the plane. You're waiting.
The local guy, you like, you know, the indie shit. You fucking love that.
Oh, dude,
that was so good.
So it was, you know, I missed a lot of time with like my daughter. She'll be 4 on March 22nd. So those 2 years and like last year when I was hitting the indies really hard, I missed a lot of time with her. And so you do miss that. Like, you know, you'd come home and she grew 6 inches.
Right.
What the fuck? Yeah, you weren't that big when I left. Or, you know, and my oldest would lose a tooth or something. You miss. There is that. That is real. Like that.
Is that why a lot of guys, you know, drop out of the business kind of thing? Like they can't go to travel, get away from home, that kind of thing.
I know Ted DiBiase Jr. That was the reason his wife got pregnant. He was like, I don't want to like not be here for my kid. And dude, it's a lot of sacrifices, and you know, and those guys that've been there for years, they've sacrificed a lot, and I respect all of them. There's, you know, like a guy like Kofi Kingston, who's really getting his due now. He's been there 11 years. I mean, he has kids and all. He's missed a lot of time with his kids.
So basically, a main event guy, from what I've read, I mean, I don't know about it, but they miss 250 to 300 days a year away from their family.
Yeah, 'cause
that's,
they're
you
doing
know, 80%.
Because maybe, like, let's say you're wrestling 200 times a year, and then another 50 you're doing media, or you're doing autograph signings, or WWE, or you're doing commercials, or like I got to do a Snickers commercial. Like
that was awesome.
That was awesome.
Ric Flair and his daughter Charlotte, and yeah, so you're busy, man. You're busy. It's go 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 go. And dude, I will say this: I enjoyed every minute of it, though.
Yeah. So I know you did have a story you wanted to tell about Ronda.
Oh, it was just my little, you know, what do they call it? Like Monday morning quarterback or what's the armchair?
Armchair quarterback.
Armchair quarterback. So, like, remember at WrestleMania 12 when Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart were about to do the Iron Man match, and you're seeing these vignettes of them training really, really hard. So I think, in just my humble opinion, like, and I love Charlotte, and I'm not bragging on Charlotte at all. She's tremendous. She deserves everything she's getting. Like, people wanted to see Becky versus Ronda. That's what we want. That's what most people wanted, right? Not just the internet, because like most people aren't even on the internet, dude. Like WWE is just a lot of friends, like families that go with their kids, and they're not reading bullshit on the internet most of the time. So the internet trolls and all that, they think they're the kings of the world. They're really not.
Yeah.
And but anyway, I just think not only like the internet guys, but I think like a lot of the fans just wanted to see Ronda and Becky. And I really think you had you know, people knew they wanted to cheer for Becky, and they knew they wanted to boo Ronda. And that's all you need for your first ever women's main event at WrestleMania, which you're not putting a lot of emphasis on that. Like they say, oh, we're the main event, and Seth Rollins is out there saying he's the main event. We don't know who the fuck's the main event really, because they're all saying they're the main event. To me, first women's main event, like my humble opinion, Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and then like the Shawn Michaels Bret Hart thing. You have vignettes of Becky Lynch in an octagon, training, learning Ronda Rousey's style, and sweating hard, and you're seeing these vignettes of her fucking tapping people out and like sparring with people. And then you do vignettes with Ronda Rousey at the Performance Center with Natalia, learning how Becky's style and how to wrestle. And like, you know, Becky's been wrestling for years, and I'm going to learn her style, I'm going to learn her secrets, I'm going to train on. And you do these vignettes. Don't even have them touch each other.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Ronda Rousey's going out there and you know, she's being a heel, shitting on the fans, shitting on Becky, and I'm gonna disrespect your sport, I'm gonna disrespect Becky, and you know, I'm learning her style and I'm gonna rip her arm off. And then you have Becky Lynch, oh no, I'm in the octagon and I'm tapping people, I'm gonna rip Ronda's arm off. And then you're thinking, who the fuck's gonna rip whose arm off? And then and people love Becky and hate Ronda, and then you just do those vignettes, and then you do the face before WrestleMania where you really want to see them get at each other, and you have the security break them up before they can fight, and then you build that up and build that up and build it up, and then you fucking have the match at WrestleMania just between them two. And instead, man, and again, I'm not a fan of it. I know right for that company's hard, but then instead we got Becky on crutches for 6 weeks or whatever it was. We got the McMahons involved. We got Charlotte involved. To me, man, like,
they could have been simple, man.
Simple. Ronda and Becky.
But it's always good versus evil. So
right.
When they pump and pump and pump, people are going to watch it no matter what the fuck they put on that.
Yeah, but man, dude, they had this set up perfectly right before Survivor Series when Becky got that bloody face,
like, they love
and everybody loved it, and they were shit talking each other on Twitter or whatever. I mean, they could have just like you said, they could have had the vignettes. They could have just crap talked each other for weeks and weeks, and I mean, people would have seen it. But then they to me, they just overcomplicated everything.
Yeah.
Oh, let's throw Charlotte in here. And of course, they recycled that same thing pretty much with Kofi. Oh, well, let's take Kofi out. He doesn't deserve it. Let's put in Kevin Owens. It's like you're doing the same kind of storyline, basically, 2 matches of WrestleMania.
And trust me, Charlotte deserves to be there.
Oh, yeah, she's
Awesome.
absolutely awesome.
And but to me, it's Becky and it's Ronda. That's what people want to see. Just you can't.
Nobody wants to see Charlotte.
You can't.
People love her, but they don't want to see
Not in this particular match.
No.
Not in this particular match. To me, like I would have did with Charlotte, I would put her against Asuka. Last year she ended Asuka's streak. This year she's gonna take her title from her.
Right.
I have your number. I'm the one that can beat you.
Then reincorporate it with Becky Lynch or Ronda Rousey.
Like, but so that because I don't know what they're doing with Asuka at WrestleMania. Like to me, Charlotte beat her last year. That's where you put Charlotte against Asuka, and I'm going to beat you this year again.
It'd be a great match.
Oh, it was one of the best matches on last year's WrestleMania.
If not the best, yeah, I really like that match.
It was a great match. But to me, I really feel like they should have put Ronda, who is great as a fucking heel,
I love it, yeah.
versus Becky Lynch, and that could be a main event at WrestleMania. It's just a women's match. Like,
Dude, just a one-on-one. I mean, they had everything
Charlotte
going
Flair's
for
great, but fuck her in that main event.
So like they're not really putting a lot of like emphasis on, and hopefully it is the main event. This is the first ever women's main event. You build that up.
Exactly.
They haven't been so we're like what 3 weeks out or whatever it is.
And this would be bigger than that whole women's pay-per-view.
They're not talking about this is the first ever women's main event. This is the most important moment in women's wrestling history.
They should push it.
Yeah, and they're not doing. I'm like,
Dude,
come on, guys.
like you said, if it is going to be the main event, which I believe it should be,
I think it
event,
will be. I think
then they really ought to push it, especially with everything that's going on nowadays. Me Too movements. Women are held down for this or that, money wise.
Michelle Obama.
But I mean, it'd be perfect time to capitalize on that. I mean, obviously mainstream picks up WrestleMania anyway, but that'd be something that could really be ran with. Hey,
But
they're
why
putting
not?
the women first time in 35 years of WrestleMania. This is going to be it.
Yeah, and then just I mean, people are gonna watch WrestleMania no matter what. The name WrestleMania sells itself.
They booked their fucking pay-per-views months ago.
and I think before Becky caught fire per se, probably they were thinking Charlotte Ronda at Mania, and Becky just got hot, man. And I'm so happy and like proud of her, man. Like, cause I was there, and every night she would get the biggest reaction out of the girls, and she would bust her ass. And that girl, she's been wrestling since she was 15 fucking years old. Like, for her not to be the chosen one, and she's gonna get that WrestleMania main event, and she deserves it. And she's a humble girl, she's a smart girl, and she's a tremendous, tremendous asset to that company. And for her to be able to do it, and she was always so nice to me, man. Like when I first went there and I had this T-shirt, like I walked in, she was the first one wearing it. I got your shirt on, and she said, I didn't know her from Adam. You know what I mean? Like, man, this fucking chick's cool. Like she's wearing my shirt, and she was always so nice and just so passionate. Like I said, right after Money in the Bank, right away, she's like, we need to wrestle. And they did it 4 months later, but like she just knows it and she gets it, and she's been doing it her whole life, and she deserves it. I'm so happy for her, man.
So you're back there, and you're backstage, you wrestle, all that shit. Like, what kind of conversations do you have with people that really get the business? Like, Hunter, who really gets it? Like when you're back there and people visionize what's going on. Who really fucking gets what's going on, and who knows and visualizes what's going to be a big thing in 2 weeks from now?
It's the guys that have done it for years. It's the Triple H's, it's the Road Dogs, it's the Adam Pearce's, it's the Fit Finleys, it's Arn Anderson's, like the guys that have just been doing it for years and understand it and have experience. Just like any other job, they have the experience and they get it. And there's guys there that I love, and they're nice guys, but they were just football players, that they were big guys and athletes, and they got the job, and they don't get it as much. And you can tell, like, I'm sitting there watching, like, and you can tell they're getting it, because they're around the right people. They're getting more and more every week. Like a girl like Carmella, she wasn't a wrestler on the indies. She was, hot, Lakers cheerleader, Patriots cheerleader, and she gets signed with WWE based off, her athleticism and her looks. And dude, it's fun to watch her now, because from where I was there when she first got called up to the main roster, So now she's like way better in the ring. And she's not getting a lot of ring time right now, but like she had a nice run as champion. Like her matches would get better, and it's because she's around the right people and she's willing to learn. And you like to see that.
I have a quick jump in. So somebody like that, pretty, WWE's like, oh man, she'll be good, she'll be great. How does somebody like that compare to a Natty Neidhart, who are her family, her uncles, her father, all wrestlers? Like, how does that compare to somebody that's been in the business, around the business their whole life? Somebody that's just hot and, like the thought, oh, she would be great.
Well, everybody that's there is there for a reason. And everybody has different ways they got there. So I don't knock any way anybody got there. If you're there for a reason. You're there because this is entertainment business, and people look at you and go, this is what people want to see. And like Natalia's, hell of a wrestler, been wrestling her whole life. She is willing to help all those girls that don't have the experience she does, and she's awesome, and that's why she's been there so long. She's a very, very nice, passionate person willing to help anybody. She's really helping Ronda Rousey, and yeah, so like a Carmella who didn't have a lot of experience. Her dad was a journeyman wrestler. It's funny story. So Razor Ramon's WWF debut was against her dad. Look it up on YouTube. Yep, look it up.
That's good.
Paul Van Dal.
Something.
Yeah, Razor Ramon's WWE debut. It's against Carmella's dad.
That's awesome.
Paul Van Dal, I think his name was. I think maybe I'm wrong with the last name, but I know it's Paul Van something. And but yeah, man, she's an entertainer, and that's why she's there. Like, she's entertaining, she's fun to watch, and I'm very happy she's still doing good, and I had a blast working with her.
Nice. All right, so you get on the WWE roster, you're a local guy, and you come back here, you did your indie shows, everyone loves you. Like, what are you gonna do? What do you want to do in the next 2 years?
So I just, I still like to perform, so I'm performing. I just wrestled last week. It was a lot of fun. I got some shows coming up.
Pretty ugly reunion tour if anybody wants to Google it on Facebook.
So yeah, like before I did WWE, we had this really cool tag team with characters. Pretty Jimmy and Adam Ugly, Pretty Ugly, and I'm like not a hot guy, but I'm out there acting like I'm the shit. I'm like wearing fishnets, a mascara, acting like I'm pretty, and a partner Adam Ugly, he's got a toilet seat on, he's picking his nose, and he's a chunky guy. So it was a fun gimmick. And we just, like you said last week, I had teamed with them 4 years, and it was cool, man. It felt so like normal.
Yeah.
It's been 4 years, but
right back to it.
So
Jump back in.
and I've done all this crazy shit, and like I've never gotten an ego because of it. Like I'll have a beer with anybody. Like I don't like, cause dude, like again, I'm a very
Or Twisted Tea.
Hey man, don't throw me up.
Hey, I love Twisted Tea personally.
It's the best. It's a girl drink, but I love it. But yeah, like I said, I'm a firm believer that, at the end of the day, life is short, and we should just enjoy it and be nice to each other and be cool. And I've matured a lot like that. And yeah, like all this fun stuff I've done, I don't like say, oh, I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. And all that. Yeah, but it was like I come back, team with my partner, I had a blast, and it felt good, man. It felt normal.
Good pop. So Steve, I'm gonna let you ask him one final question, and then I'm gonna close it out.
So basically, you're just gonna. Your plan is you're going to just keep on rolling with everything you got going on. Hopefully one day we'll get you back on WWE. Who knows what the future holds, and just anything else that you wanted to promote or say.
Well, yeah, so I'm going to keep on keeping on, man. The past is in the past, and the future is ahead of us. So I just keep on keeping on, doing my thing, staying positive and working hard. Yeah, man, just check me out on Twitter at Real Ellsworth. Check me out on Facebook at James Ellsworth. Maybe I'll accept your friend request, maybe I won't. And then Instagram at James Ellsworth Wrestling. And then my friends at Adrenaline Wrestling, the company I, helped a lot. Check them out at adrenalinewrestling.com. They have a show coming up here this weekend in Ellsworth. That's where we're at right now.
All right, we just mail them. Come out and see them.
316. It's on the 16th, so it's cool. So go see my friends there, man.
Ellsworth 316.
Yep, and come out and see us as well, because we're going to be out there representing.
And I'm going to go in closing, one last question. I love wrestling. I've been a wrestling fan my whole life. I play with my wrestlers in the bathtub. I played
Did you play with mine in the bathtub?
But whatever. I did the steel cage, the rings. I took the red Sharpie and busted people's heads open. For you to be, a local guy, a humble guy, you wrestled local, so you get to WWE. How fucking was it like it when you go in Walmart or Toys R Us or Target and see your own fucking action figure on the shelf?
Dude, like, that's the coolest thing ever. Like, so, and there's videos of me on the internet, like, signing them. Like, in the Walmarts or in the Targets. I put a video up, hey, I'm at the Walmart on Ordnance Road. Come check me. You know, I just signed the figure. Come get it.
Yeah.
Dude,
We
like,
saw that. It was great, man. Great.
it would take 15 or 20 minutes and somebody would, like,
It's gone.
comment, went and got it. Which, toy collecting, it's like, man, it's crazy. Like, people really take that shit seriously. I've been looking for a Pete Dunne for the last 2 months and I can't find
Anyone
one.
looking for has a Pete Dunne?
I need
Get
one.
James Ellsworth on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram.
So, and, but yeah, dude, like, it's the coolest thing ever. Like you said, when I was a kid, man, I would play with my wrestling figures, my Hulk Hogan, my Jake Roberts, my Ultimate Warriors was my favorite, the Ultimate Warrior as a kid. And, to have my own, I have 2 of them. This and Carmel and I had a 2-pack is, to me, the coolest freaking
That's fucking
thing ever.
unbelievable.
'Cause that's immortalized right there.
So to me, like, fuck, you can't be any more immortalized.
I can't
to
wait
have
to,
a
like,
fucking
If you have a
wrestling
goddamn
figure.
action figure,
I can't wait to,
Like
like,
Farland, a wrestling figure.
that's cool.
In 5 or 6 years when I went to flea markets, I see it with a
Buy 'em
barrel.
all.
Like, you know, I'm gonna laugh
Who
my
gives
ass.
a fuck, man?
I can't wait. So,
How many people can say they can go to Walmart and see their own fucking self
so
in a box with an action
here's the
figure?
craziest thing. You know how many people in the world get an action figure? You know what the percentage of it is? I looked it up. You can-
Very low, like 1 or
It's
2%.
not even 1%.
Wow.
It's like a point blah 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 percent. It's not even 1% of people
That's
in this world
amazing.
get an action figure. So, like, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, I think of shit.
That's how
like,
you know you made it.
Like, I think of shit like, I'm like, man, how fucking lucky am I? I got an action figure. There's 99.9% of people in this world will never have one. I have 2 of them. Like, that's
Yeah.
lucky, man. It's a blessing from above, and I'm very, very, very appreciative.
So James Ellsworth, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, guys.
WWE, you know, pay-per-views, action figure. You're a Glen Burnie legend. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you
Continued
guys.
success in everything you do. God bless you and thank you.
Thank you, and the teas too.